And we are live. It's another great day with Cribl TV. I am more than thrilled to be here today. This is Ed Bailey as usual, and we bring in Desi from our fabulous product management team. We are going to talk about one of our newest release. It's a very, very exciting release. So before we get to there, Desi, where are you today? What are you up to?
Yeah, thanks, Ed. And I'm super excited to be on Cribble TV. I did a commercial, fun fact, when I was a child. So this is my second time on TV. I'm pumped. I am in the process of moving, actually. I'm based in New York City primarily, but my husband and I are doing a cross-country move to Seattle, but coming to you live from a New York hotel room right now.
Hey, there you go. Very, very exciting. You're moving from one cool city to another cool city. That's pretty awesome.
That's what they tell me. It's only my second or third time in Seattle, so still looking for all the recommendations. Please send them my way.
Absolutely. Yeah, I spent a good chunk of the 90s in Seattle, so I definitely share, but that's awesome. Even though some of my recommendations may be a little outdated and around grunge music, but I'm just showing my age.
That's okay. I'm sure the impact you left on Seattle back in the '90s is still there, so I'm looking forward to experiencing
Yeah, watch Singles if you want to see Seattle in the 90s.
it. Will do. I'll add it to the list.
All right, so let's get down to business. So we're
Cool.
getting ready to have a new release, 4.6. I'm particularly excited. This is, I think, going to have some really massive changes with handling observability and security data. And I think one of the big focuses here is on network data. So Desi, can you share some of those new features and why our people care?
Yeah. So I think orgs today, and a lot of people know this, they're just dealing with an explosion of data from a ton of different sources. I think some of those key challenges might include things like making sure that we've got data integrity, right? Helping manage data from diverse formats, getting insights from that data, and doing all of that while still maintaining security and compliance. It's really hard. I think the great thing about Stream 4.6, this new release, it's really designed as a holistic solution. So it's not just about collecting the data or routing it. We also transform it, enrich it, however you need to process it securely, and delivering it where it can drive the most value with an emphasis on things like ease of use, right? And integration and unification of data where you need that. So I'm super excited about this release. I think there's a lot of good stuff in here, especially around, like you mentioned, security data, observability data, but also network data that's going to provide some real value. So excited to get into it.
Yeah, that's really awesome, and it's a real need. The people who work with our tooling, it's just data's coming from everywhere. It's in a multitude of formats, and typically it's a crushing amount of data, in particular with network data. So I'm really excited with what we're getting ready to offer to our customers.
Awesome. Me too. Yeah, I think you bring up an interesting point around like the variety of data, right? It's not just the volume, but it's the variety and it's the variance in value too. And I think particularly for network data, that volume can get to be an issue.
It's very specialized types of formats as well. I mean, we're already offering some options around model-driven telemetry, which I think is huge. But so
Yeah.
let's go. What's the feature that you're most excited about?
Yeah, for me, I would say TCP pinning alleviation. I think it's going to be huge, not just for the customers, but also for our partners. So you think about like managed service providers who are managing multiple customers. I think they're going to see those benefits amplified.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. This is something I saw when I was a customer, and all of my large customers have these issues where they're having a large amount of data that's coming over TCP, and it's predominantly Syslog. Syslog traffic over TCP is very, very hard to load balance. And so typically what happens is you get what's called pinning, where the data is coming through and it sticks on a single worker process. And then the worker process starts to get overwhelmed. And so it creates a lot of problems with throughput, potentially with drop data, and it's very painful to deal with. And I'm just real excited with what we're doing. So, can you give some descriptions about how we're handling this?
Of course. So, what the Fabulous Stream team has done in 4.6 is we've added syslog load balancing for TCP, right? The goal is to alleviate some of the challenges that you bring up with pinning and really optimize the distribution of those data loads across network connections. So, when you think about high volume environments. That's going to prevent any single connection from becoming its own bottleneck. You'll get things like more smooth and efficient data ingestion. And I think it's particularly beneficial for teams that depend on real-time data processing, right? And the need to maintain high throughput and reliability, which is most of the teams that I talk to. So I feel like it's going to be a game changer.
It's a really big deal, and I like it because it's just from an easy use perspective, it's literally you're pushing a check button, you're pushing a commit, and it stands up a dedicated process to receiving this data. And then what it does is instead of trying to process the data on the worker process, it passes the data to the other worker processes. So you get significantly better throughput in receiving data and significantly faster processing through the other worker processes. The only catch is just you have to make sure you're going to add a core because you're adding a new process that's going to into your worker. And so it's very exciting. From the testing I did myself, we were able to see about 5 to 6x increase in throughput, and with some tweaks, you can do even better. And so it's a very conservative, and that's a huge gain for our customers.
Yeah, I'm really excited. And I think too, for MSPs and MSSPs that are really looking to maintain those high service levels, any resellers or channel partners can also leverage this capability. I think it's going to be a real selling point to clients with those high availability requirements.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a big deal, and I think it opens up to more data sources, to bigger data sources, and I think it'll help with transition and also adoption, and also tool consolidation. So there's just a wide variety of benefits there. So
Totally
what do you
agree.
say
Yeah.
about next? So what's
I
your
think
next?
then go ahead. We're talking at the same time.
No, sorry. What's your next favorite feature?
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, I think I'm really excited about Netflow V5 as a source, to be
Yes.
honest. I know there's some other versions out there, but I'm excited for V5 just because it helps just add another layer to our Netflow source support story. So I'm really pumped about that.
I am too. I mean, from a networking nerd's heart, it just warms your heart that you can take in. It's a very important data source. It's a very large data source. So now teams can get more value from it. Typically with NetFlow, you're sampling it best because this is a large data source. So being able to get more control over it and get into the right tools is a very key feature.
Yeah, and it's going to mean a ton for network performance monitoring and how you do that with Stream 4.6. I think when you integrate support for Netflow v5, it just opens up our capabilities so much more in that regard. Um, like I said, I know there are other versions out there. However, a lot of our customers are using V5 today. And I think it's going to enhance their visibility into network behaviors, helping with anomaly detection, right? Performance optimization, security monitoring, any benefits that you would normally see when you increase network performance.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's probably one of the more common versions of NetFlow. So, but do you have any kind of insight into other types of NetFlow and when that's going to be supported?
It is on the roadmap, is what I'm clear to say. I
Right.
do know that that work is definitely being scoped out today, and we should see and hear more by the end of this fiscal.
That's very cool. I think NetFlow support along with model-driven telemetry is going to unlock a whole new set of capabilities, especially for observability teams.
Totally agree, and you bring up another great point as well, which is a lot of these new features work with ones that we've released in the past to really come together and combine to form this like amazing capability set that's going to really benefit teams.
Yeah, absolutely. So tell me, what's up next?
Cool. Next up, we have REST collector state tracking, which I'm also super excited about. It's going to help improve data collection reliability in 4.6, but Ed, any insights that you have around REST collector state tracking, just from a practitioner standpoint, I'd really appreciate.
Yeah, this is probably one of the most common requests we get from teams. The idea that there are certain data sources that they can't really be incrementally pulled in. So, for example, you have a set of events that are too big to pull in with your first pull. So that ability to track state and that ability to understand where I left off from the first pull is very, very important. So this is going to unlock a whole new series of options for our customers. APIs are, depending upon your point of view, are the bane of your existence, or a whole source of new observability into your SaaS customers. And so it's very important what we're doing. I love this. Also, it's going to add a resiliency feature as well. Previously you had some dependencies on the leader for a REST collector, and now having stateful collection at the REST collector itself is going to make the processes a lot more resilient. So it's a huge win all the way around.
Awesome. Yeah, I totally agree. I think it kind of I watch a lot of TV. So it just kind of reminds me of like watching Hulu, right? You're keeping track of where you were so that you can like resume where you left off in the case of an interruption. And then I think you bring up a good point around just making sure that that data continues to be accurate, continues to be complete, those data sets do. Especially where you're looking to that data to help drive decisions and do things like boost operational intelligence.
I know. I always hate disappointing customers when they're trying to pull in a data source in, and especially for the ones where they needed stateful tracking. And so now that we offer it, it unlocks one more piece of value. So it's awesome. I can't wait to talk to customers about it.
Awesome. And then the last two things I'm really excited about, would love to kind of talk about them together, would be
Sure.
email notifications. And then I guess it kind of goes back to REST collector state tracking. I mostly just wanted to highlight that you can combine a lot of these new features in 4.6 to help further ensure operational continuity, right? So if you take email notifications, for example, you're not only going to have those alerts, but they're going to be part of a larger ecosystem. So when you combine that with something like REST collector state tracking, for example, you're going to then get a really robust mechanism for just monitoring and managing all of that data flow for better reliability and integrity. So I just want to make sure that folks recognize that you can also combine these features. They're great alone, but you can put them together for an even better result.
Nice. And I think email notifications is very, very important. You need to be able to monitor your tools. Your tools need to have some way to say, hey, something's wrong with me, or this is what I'm doing. And I think email notifications is an important feature that's been a long time coming. So I know this, particularly for our commercial and our enterprise segments, I think it's going to be very, 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 very well received.
Awesome. Yeah, I know everybody's in email. We've got other notifications in the product today, but I think that's going to be a great addition for our customers.
Yeah, emails like Syslog. It's never going away. So
Exactly.
people want to talk about cloud first, but some things are still staying the same.
I know, right? Amazing. Well, I do want to touch on a little bit more just how these new features in 4.6 work together to help better the user experience. I mentioned an example before, but I think similarly, if you take a scenario, right, where you have a network outage that's disrupting data collection,
Right.
but let's say you've got 4.6, right? So now when you have S3 source checkpointing, for example, 4.6 is going to ensure that none of that data is lost and start
Right.
picking up collection right where it left off. So again, all of these features really work together to help give users a better experience.
In a high threat world, also from a high compliance world, that ability to be resilient, we have to expect failure. We have to accept it could be a failure on the API side. So we have to understand, where something stops, so that way we can start it again.
Absolutely. Cool. I think I touched on all the features I wanted to.
There we
Did
go.
I miss anything, Ed?
No, I think those are the big ones. I think it's always important to check out the release notes for the latest release. Um,
Yes.
so I believe our sandboxes are going to be updated shortly. Try it out. It's important also try it out in your test environment. Make sure you understand how the features work. Make sure you understand, just thoroughly use those release notes, and then prepare yourself for a rollout. Don't just upgrade just to upgrade. Check out the release notes. Look at the features, understand what they are. Engage your CSE, or if you're working with the sales engineer, feel free to ask those questions. Hopefully your rep is doing office hours. Another great place to ask questions. So that way you can take best advantage of these new features in your enterprise.
Absolutely. And you should be seeing this up somewhere on your screen, but if you haven't already, please do join our community. Just want to plug like the user feedback and the interaction in the community is so important. A lot of these features came out of the community or were first raised there. So just as you're checking these out, any cool use cases or things you find, we'd love to hear about it, or anything you'd like to see in the future. We'd love to hear about those too.
So I just added the link to our Cribl sandboxes, sandbox.cribl.io. It's a great way to check out new features, check out the different products with a minimal investment of your time. Give yourself 15, 20 minutes per use case, and you can make decisions. You make decisions from firsthand experience. So this is a real favorite capability of mine.
Awesome. I love it. Cool. Well,
Okay.
I think I'm ready to wrap up if you are.
That sounds great. Desi, I really appreciate your time. Thanks for sharing all the new features for 4.6, and I can't wait for it to come out.
Me too. I'm so excited. The team's been working really hard, so I'm pumped for our customers to finally get to enjoy the fruits of that labor. Cannot wait.
It's very cool. Hey, good luck with move to Seattle. You're going to have a lot of cross country trips, so that red eye, I imagine, is going to you're going to get used to it.
I will, yeah. And thank you so much for the well wishes. I'll try to channel 90s Ed while I'm there, so I'm sure I'll have a good time.
So you got to watch Singles. You won't be able to stop laughing. When, so
I definitely will do.
when I say we're big in Belgium, you'll know what I mean.
Okay. All righty.
All right, take care. I'll talk to you soon.
All right. Sounds great, Ed.